everybody. Welcome to Athenaeum Session 7 vlog. Yes, it was a lot.
There were tears and
Yes.
laughs, everything.
Crying so much.
Yeah, that was very real tears. It was so well done. I'm sure you all have questions, so hit me with whatever questions you have.
I want to ask Emily, how are you feeling?
How are
you feeling, Emily?
About all of this?
I mean, I kind of in the back of my mind thought this could happen where she could become a ghost, or I also thought of the possibility of her swapping with Carmen and Carmen coming into play. So I'm okay with it now that I know what happened. I think it was the 2 weeks leading up to this session where I was just anxious and going through all the different theories and sending them to heart.
Yeah. So what was it? Give me the theory that you gave me, because you were very close. You were super close.
Yeah. So, sorry, I'm just pulling it up. So I talked about the idea of it being some sort of dream sequence, a drug-induced hallucination, or the party is stuck in the mind of Tori in like an alternate reality. So that was kind of the gist of it, because what kind of clued me into that was back to her origin story when her parents were like, maybe we should give the doctor another call. And so I was like, yeah, there has to be something with a mental hospital, insane asylum. Like, this has to be some weird reality.
Some people might be very familiar with this storyline. I'm a big Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So this definitely takes from one of the episodes called Normal Again, I think. So Buffy is not a show that I consider scary. Like, obviously there's monsters and vampires, but I never considered it scary. That episode, when I saw it, that was the one episode that freaked me out and creeped me out, especially at the end. Without spoiling anything, I was like speechless when I saw the ending of that episode, because it was so, they did it beautifully in such a way that it was inconclusive, like what's real and what's not. And I loved that it allowed the viewer to interpret whatever they wanted to interpret. And the vast majority of the dialogue that the mom and the dad and the doctor had were literally taken almost word for word from that episode, because I just love the dialogue, and I tweaked a few things, but I didn't want to change any of it because it was just so good. And so and I'm giving credit here now, that I didn't come up with all that dialogue myself. So there was that. One thing I will say is that I didn't come into Tori's world like trying to kill Tori. I was trying to kill everyone equally. It just so happened that I think everybody made different decisions, and unfortunately, because of specific decisions and specific roles, I think Emily asked me, like, what would have happened to Tori if she just went to the asylum, and I said she would have been fine. But she decided that she really wanted to go back, which is there's very good reason to do what she did. I'm not saying that she made the wrong decision, but it definitely was a very riskier decision.
Yeah.
And so she did legitimately die. I'm a GM, I'll be very honest and upfront. I don't want any of my characters to die, any of my players to die, because then it's more work for me to figure out how to continue with the story. So I have a reason to not try to kill you, but I still have to make sure that the threat is real when you're in a horror genre.
Right. And
so because she legitimately died, I had to follow through with it and figure out, well, what can I do now that she's technically dead? And so I did come up with a scenario where Emily basically can make a decision, or Tori can make a decision. Either she decides this is all just an illusion and a dream, and she will be perfectly fine if she says the asylum is the reality. But if she really is trying to believe that the horror stuff that's going on with this madman following you with the weed whacker, that's the reality, then she has to accept that she died, because she did die in that reality. And so that is the indirect choice. I don't know if Emily knew for sure that was the choice she was making, but that was essentially what she was choosing. So some of you might be wondering what would have happened if she chose the asylum version.
Yeah.
So first of all, what would have happened if the weed whacker guy managed to kill any of you who wasn't Tori, then they would have also have woken up. Once they were dead, they would have woken up in the asylum, bound as well, and they would have also been in a situation where they are told, everything you were thinking about, like jumping different worlds, like that's all in your head. You're schizophrenic and stuff like that. Tori would have had to basically go back and burn all of you. And the tick marks at that point, you already saw that how the tick marks affected Tori. It would have allowed her the ability to fail, like thinking that the asylum was the illusion, but she succeeded. For everybody else's tick marks, that would have determined how much damage you would have taken when she tried to burn you, because then her powers would have manifested normally and she could cast her fire spells like normal to burn you, and you would have taken more damage if you had more tick marks. If she succeeded that and she was able to destroy her friends down, then she would have stayed alive as Carmen. She would have stayed alive as Carmen with her parents, and then they would have taken her back and she would have lived happily ever after, knowing that the other Carmen or Tori or whoever you want to think of her as didn't exist in the first place. And the rest of the cast, the rest of the PCs, would have jumped into the book at that moment. So it's like none of the stuff that happened while you were in the horror part actually happened. Like those were your illusionary like doubles that didn't actually exist. They were just there because they were all in Tori's head. And that's the whole point of that ending, is that she chose that was all in her head. So you would all have just appeared at that point and all of you would have been fine. And you would have gotten the bookmark and then you would have moved on. So I was trying to make it so that it really could go either way. It would have worked out with either ending. It's just up to Emily/Tori to decide which ending she wanted. And that's how it all played out.
Yeah. So in either situation, Carmen would have been okay.
Either situation, Carmen would be okay. Either Carmen would have been saved because you sacrificed yourself for her, or you were Carmen the whole time.
Right.
And so you essentially saved yourself. Yeah. You found yourself and was able to let go of this Tori person that you were latching onto. I thought either ending would have worked. And either way, I was setting it up so it was a win-win situation for your character.
Sure.
You were going to save Carmen either way, and I wanted to make sure that Carmen was saved no matter what you did. It's just there are consequences for each one, each ending, and it just depended on which one you wanted to believe was true. And even then, the viewers can decide for themselves, was it actually an illusion the whole time? Right. Like, was the asylum really the illusion? And now in the book, in the Maldivere Manor book, Tori/Carmen is actually like stuck in this asylum, lost in her head and not able to get out and escape from this bizarre world where she's jumping from universe to universe. Like, that's up to the viewers to decide at this point. So
it's so interesting how this turned from like a slasher feel horror to like a psychological thriller.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really good.
That flipped in my head the entire time. Like, where am I? Like, this is a psychological thriller all along.
I was planning that from the beginning. I wanted the previous session to be more slasher film. Obviously, I threw the Scooby-Doo elements was in session 1. Yeah. Those are the Scooby-Doo elements. Then I want to do all the Freddy Krueger, Resident Evil Nemesis stuff. Well, that happened all throughout. But then this one, I was like, I want this to be less about the jump scares and the monsters and more about psychological thrillers. That was the whole point of today's session. Yes.
Yeah, so the whole Scooty Poo gang also mix of Tori's imagination.
The Scooty
Or
Poo
they're
gang.
just dead.
Yeah.
You might be back. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
You might be back. Who knows?
Yeah, the
I guess
theory
I was
that
going
it was.
through.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, yeah, because I think the idea of her burning the rest of the party, I don't think she wanted to do that, but I also didn't realize that the alternative would be burning my family and stuff. So that was really tough to take in when it was happening.
Madame Maldivere still gave you the choice. She said you can still decide, because I even asked you which one do you think is the illusion.
Yeah.
You could have still done. Yeah, she told you what you need to do, and neither of them was pretty, but again, it's a total mind F. Psychological thrillers are a mind F, and that's what I was trying to put Tori into, a very uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
What would happen with any of the other characters if they died?
Yeah, if they legitimately died, then I would have had to have a conversation with them and say, okay, so technically your character died in Tori's world. I can offer you like the ghost thing too, if you want, or we can try to come up with something else. To be very honest, it was one of those things again where I had some thoughts about it, but I was going to cross that bridge if I got to it, which is what happened with Tori's death. Like I wasn't going in with a huge solidified plan of what to do if Tori died, for example, but then when it happened, I was like, okay, now I have to think about what we're going to do, and then this is what I came up with.
I had a question about the Carmen Madame.
Yeah.
So is like you, because you saved Carmen.
You
Does
did.
she become like? Is she her? Like.
Yeah. I purposely am leaving that very open-ended. I'm not giving that a specific explanation because I want you all to interpret that however you want. Because the implication was, if we were to believe the asylum was the reality, you notice that there were certain elements in there that sort of would have explained why she's hallucinating about these other things. Felix, the name that the doctor's name was Felix was not a coincidence. I purposely put Felix there because that's a character that she met. The licorice thing, she's bitter, and she's the black bitter flavor senshi, so black licorice. Mm-hmm. That was like, that would have fed in to that. And then if, the nurse was not really her stepmother, then she would have picked up on the nurse's face and made that her stepmother. And then same thing with Carmen or Tori or whatever you want to call her sister. She saw this image of this girl in the asylum, which was blonde and beautiful, and decided, yeah, that's my sister that's been missing this whole time. So I was trying to place those seeds in purposely to give reasons for the asylum to be totally legit as well. And why she's hallucinating these specific things. Also, Theodore has the nickname Ted. Ted was one of the Scooty Poo gang people. Oh. And if she had found out the name of the nurse's name was Debbie. Another member of the Scooty Poo gang. Yeah. I also was going to do something which I never had a chance to because it just didn't fit. But there was going to be a moment where there was going to be the next door to her was another person in the asylum who was super crazy, like violently crazy, like trying to stab the doctors in the eye, which is a young man named Pio. So that was going to be where Pio came from.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
man.
No, this is good.
Yeah,
this was very well put together.
Yeah.
If I was being honest, I didn't think of all this until after Tori died. Because before Tori died, I had a slightly different storyline, but I like this one better. I like this one better.
What was the other storyline?
The other storyline was it wasn't going to be an asylum. I was going to have you all come back again to Maldivere Manor and confront either the Madame Maldivere herself, or there was going to be, you would probably run into Carmen herself at some point, and then there was going to be some sort of other psychological choice that you would have to make. Mm-hmm. But I think this is better.
I think it worked out way better this way.
This was good.
I was gonna say, it's not really a question, but I want to really applaud Emily because you are a brand new role player and you did so amazing this session. It was so good. I got it.
Thank you.
Yes.
As a longtime DM, you're someone I would want to DM for.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
Yeah, and I appreciate your patience because I know that you weren't there most of the time. But I felt like you had some very isolated scenes that were just very much the spotlights on Tori.
Yeah.
And you had huge decisions to make.
Yeah.
Which affected the fate of everybody in the storyline. So hopefully that balanced it a little bit.
Yeah. No, it did. I would have felt bad too if I burned the party and I don't know.
But then they would have been fine.
Issues.
Been,
Yeah,
then you would have been
that's
fine. They
true.
were, they would
Black
have been fine.
Powder
But
was
you didn't
really
know that.
low on HP, but yeah.
Oh, I was very close to dying.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have
Okay.
known that you tried to kill them unless you told them. They wouldn't have
Yeah.
known because that wasn't real.
That's
That was the
true.
illusion.
True.
That was the illusion. That's what you believed was the illusion.
So trippy.
I also really liked the part where you and Carmen talked in her dreams.
It was so sweet.
It was very important to me going into that dream that I wanted to be a very fulfilling ending. I didn't want to end on a sad note because it's very easy for a lot of horror movies to end on a bittersweet sad note, and it is bittersweet, but for the most part I think it has a lot of hope in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't actually expect it. Just happened when I was personifying Carmen in that moment. I didn't expect it to actually play out as light as it ended up being. Yeah, let's go. We can go and like hang out like at night, and it'll be longer because you would dream. When you're dreaming, things happen longer in dreams, and oh yeah, ground rules. Don't follow me on Friday or Saturday nights. Like I don't know. I just felt like it ended on a much happier note than it could have.
And that's how like Carmen and Tori started out, so I'm glad it ended that way too.
But there's hope that Tori's story isn't completely over in this world, just like none of your other stories are completely over yet, it seems like. So there's still other things other loose ends that could be tied.
I think Black Powder's reaction to all of that was so intense.
Yeah.
So intense. It was something that I
Real.
never really expected
Well done.
to see come out. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt that Thistle did a great job letting that all build up.
Mm-hmm.
It gradually built up to this climax almost, and who knows if that is the climax. Maybe there's something else later on. But I thought you did great with that scene, Thistle. When you started tearing up, I was like, oh god, this is so good. This is so good.
Why did Black Powder have to grow conscious? Why? I want him to be evil and bad and awful. Ah!
Feelings. They get in the way of
no,
everything.
The
so
feels.
He caught a case of the feels, damn it.
The part where Tori offered to teach him how to read was like,
That got me like teary
Yeah.
again.
With just the Tori spin though, it has to be goosebumps.
Right? I was like, Tori, it's my people. Oh my goodness.
I was just gonna say, Joe, Sam's statistics throughout the entire game
That was so
Yes.
funny.
giving me
Yes.
life. It was giving me life.
Mm-hmm.
The statistics, they were great. Man.
Up as many statistics as I could on anything I thought could come up. So there were a couple that I had to read a little bit, but yeah, I had a ton.
Nice.
I was also happy I was able to leverage the whole glasses thing for as long as, and was able to milk that for all it was worth. I know it was frustrating at times, but narratively it was really good.
Yeah.
And to be fair, there were some heroic athletic checks that the nerd did,
Mm-hmm.
which
Oh, yeah.
very critical athletic checks, which I was like, go Sam.
Yeah.
Go Sam. Yes.
No, dodging
Against
it, baby.
all odds. Yes. So
Yeah, you guys all did a great job thinking creatively with, when we didn't have our special abilities or powers. So props to you. And then obviously the penalties for Sam were pretty tough. So
Yeah.
There's so many penalties around. Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
I thought it was a great moment too when Frankie overcame his fear.
That was
Yes.
so good.
That was great.
yeah. I mean, seeing Tori dead was like a hit in the gut. Like, wake up, man, get over this, because you guys went through so much together. For her to fall, you have to grow up. She told you have to grow up. And yeah, it had to happen that way.
It was great.
Sam's like plan right at the end of the session. Like, that is some sneaky shit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should be more worried about Sam than Blackwater.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's why Star was like, remember, good or bad, he's still a person, so
Like,
treat him with respect.
I have
see.
to ask, like, what was Sam expecting to happen?
Oh.
So Sam, even though he views, a lot of gray in the world, there's still the element of black and white and right and wrong. So he has an expectation, because he's already done a lot of change, and he's seeing change in Frankie, he's seeing change in Star. He's hoping that there is change in Black Powder to more gray or light, so the others don't get put in a situation that he will not agree with. So he's now hoping that more impact of the group has a bigger and stronger impact on Black Powder, so that Black Powder doesn't put them in a situation where he has to not agree with Black Powder on a path forward.
Sneaky.
Yeah.
So Lonic is joining us.
Yes.
And
What a time.
I think the timing is perfect, because you're coming from Tori's world, which is intense and deep and scarring. And then here comes Lonic, he's a very comedic character, very light and funny and comedic type of character, same as Adam himself. So I feel like this might be a good thing to have right after Tori's stuff. So I feel like the order that you chose to do things is kind of perfect, because you started off with Sue's world and it just kicked off as just being plain silly and fun. Then you went to something a little bit more serious with Frankie's world. Then you came to something a little bit more light, which was Star's world. Now you went into Tori's, which was crazy intense. And now you're not necessarily going to Lonic's world, but you're actually meeting Lonic. And so things are a little more light, hopefully, once he's in the picture. And then we'll see what world you go to next, since now we have, now Mystery Bookmark is on the floor, and Pirate Bookmark is also up for grabs too. So who knows? We'll go from that.
Not only that, but Long's coming in when people are going to be asking some questions. Like, already, because it's like, what the hell was that about Sam and Star? Black Powder, what do you mean? Who's this new person? What's going on? Just a lot of questions about to happen next session.
No, for Star, I have to say, like, using the love book, the love notebook was clutch. Because you beat me to it. Like, you were like, you beat me to, because I was about to decapitate this guy with his own weapon. So you're like, I'm writing his name. I'm like, I guess I'm not killing this guy.
Oh man, I like, ever since last session, when you first introduced that weed whacker guy, my thought was, we got to kill him with his own weapon.
That's what I was trying to do. I was like, I'm grabbing this weapon and I'm just going to decapitate him.
We just got to like gang up on him.
It did
and
double
grab
damage.
and just wreck him.
Yep, definitely did double damage. So,
but then you're like, he's in love with me.
And I was like, I don't want to put this on no one else. So
it was great.
Yeah. Use your artifacts. They actually helped you a lot. So use them. They're creative. You've got some really cool creative ones now. The googly eyes, I think, will probably be a lot of fun.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
That one would be hilarious in Lonic's world if we use it there.
I was gonna say, when I finally made the connection between the doctor and the weed whacker guy, and then I remembered like that he had like ripped up Tori's face essentially. I was like, wait, are they gonna lobotomize her?
I was scared of that too.
I thought about that.
Thought if I kept
Like-
going back in there, they were going to be like, "There's nothing else we can do." But
Yeah, I thought like this was gonna end in a lobotomy, and I was like, oh god,
That would have been. Oh gosh, yeah.
that would have been awful.
I
So
could
this
have
is
also
all
been a
just a-
zombie, you guys.
Oh, would have been like this Tori's imagination because she's stuck lobotomized.
Right?
Mm.
Oh,
That'd be
that's real
terrifying.
horror.
Some beautiful mind shit. Oh man.
Thoughts on it? Go ahead.
That I forgot to do before we left Tori's world.
Oh,
Oh, what?
What?
I have an epilogue.
Oh, we can
cute.
insert it. We can insert it. You can play it now. We can insert it.
I already sent it to you, Hark, but yeah, let me play
Okay.
it real quick for
Let's play
everybody
it.
to get a idea of what it is.
Okay.
Henry Ford once said, "Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success."
I like that. I like that. That's a good way to. That I like that. Thank
You
you.
all have to work together to get to the end, even though Tori really ended up doing it all on her own. So
Yeah.
But
Yes,
she
I'm-
did it for the group too. It was
Yeah, she
like
did.
I could see, like gamer wise, the struggle. Like if I choose the other one, I may just erase my friends.
That's what I was afraid of.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
see that in your face, and
Yeah.
because I was
Mhm.
thinking it too. She's like, she's got to make a decision with whether she stays alive or she wipes us out.
Us out. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a hard
Damn,
choice.
that's a hard choice.
That was supposed to be a hard choice.
it was really.
so
Really?
we're looking at one session with Lonic before the break, or two?
One.
One.
Yes. And depending on how much you want to roleplay with Lonic, you may jump into the next world. Like during that
Hey.
session. So do you want to give me an idea? I would love for you to decide in character during role playing, but as players, where are you leaning more towards, just so I can sort of be prepared? Do you have, or do you not? Are you not sure which one you would lean more towards?
What,
I
the
know-
world?
I know in character Black Powder doesn't want to go to his.
Okay, so you would
So-
prefer going to the mystery one. Okay,
Yeah,
Or
because
to
we did the
Lonic.
spicy.
Yeah.
that's true.
Pulled
Well,
the,
Sam's-
pulled the spicy
Sam-
move.
Sam definitely wants to go to the mystery
Yeah,
one.
you guys
so-
were pulling the spicy move, like.
Yeah. More
Okay.
than anything, though, I want a lot of early game roleplay in the library before we go anywhere, because again, lots of questions have arisen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
I
I
want to
think
see.
some
I want to
people are
pop
still
into your
hurt.
other dreams too.
Oh gosh.
And
Oh
I-
gosh, yeah.
And I think a few people still have some healing to do, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I only healed up all the way because Star healed me earlier.
Right. Yeah, I think Sue is still down a little bit.
Yeah.
Might need to do some more library roleplay. I want to spend more time in the library, anyways, like because we don't spend much
Yeah.
time there. I want to like walk around
Yeah.
a bit.
You again, the next session, if you want, you can spend the entire session in the library for all I care. That's up to
Okay.
you. But
That's-
if you are tired of the library and you're like, let's go to the next world, I'm prepared to do that too. So it's up to you.
Because it would feel weird just entering a new world right before an extended break.
Yeah. Well, think about we
True.
have 6 weeks. So if you
Mhm.
want to discuss, hey, I think this would be a cool scene to do. You're
Yeah.
welcome to think about that. This would be a really cool scene to do with whoever. You're welcome to do that.
Yeah.
And feel free to loop Adam in too, because basically, Lonic, because I mean, you know what the situation. Lonic doesn't know you. You don't know him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure shenanigans will happen. If you want to set up a scene prematurely, feel free. Like, you know, if it's like, what exactly are you? How, you know. Cool. We will include Lonic's origin story next session, which I think is going to be fun. And I will probably have all of you participate in said origin story, and if so, I will prompt you with whatever I think needs to be prompted of you, so that you're not just twiddling your thumbs, because I think his origin story will at least take the first hour, at least. So,
Okay.
cool.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Anything else? Did everyone enjoy the subtle horror horror references that I was making all throughout. Obviously, there was some. Which ones did you catch? I'm just curious which ones you caught as the subtle references to other horror movies.
The Ring, of course.
The Ring, of
the
course.
Ring, obviously.
With the barbed wire and the puppet, there was Saw.
The song.
I don't know why, but like the whole boiler room thing reminded me of the book of The Shining.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it reminded me of Freddy Krueger.
Freddy Krueger as well.
Freddy
The
Krueger.
boiler room.
Freddy
Boiler
Krueger
room,
all
Freddy
the way,
Krueger.
baby.
Yep.
Mm.
How about the tea with the
Yes.
teacup?
When you said that, I was like, "Oh my
Yeah,
God, Get
that
Out!"
was
I was
definitely-
like, "Yes."
Definitely a
Mhm.
Get Out reference.
Get
Very
Out,
much
yes.
so. Very much so. Anything else that you caught? It's a good number.
There was a lot.
The Corn.
Children of the Corn.
Children of the
Definitely
Corn.
Children of the
Of course.
Corn.
Adam's Family.
Adam's
Mhm.
Family.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Dare I say it? Resident Evil.
Resident Evil. We already talked about Buffy.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if it was on purpose, but in the first session of Tori's World with the mirrors, I was reminded of Oculus.
Yeah, I thought of Oculus too for a sec.
You are a genius. Yes.
I almost thought because of the weed whacker dude following Tori everywhere, I was like, is this It Follows? I have some sort of curse and that's why he's following
Yeah.
me.
Oh
But-
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was just waiting for a clown to show up in a sewer somewhere.
Right.
I was
God.
I was debating
Right.
about a clown too, because that was definitely something for me as well. I was debating.
The
I just
little-
couldn't fit it anywhere.
At least a balloon or something.
Yeah, I should have done
too.
that. Yes. The little
There's
sorry.
the movie. I'm trying to think of the movie because the little bell, the jingly bell,
Yeah.
that was giving me. What's that movie? Was it Cat's Eye?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
That had the little gnome with
Yes.
the bell. That's
Yes.
what was giving me that feel. Like he was just running around. I'm like,
Yes.
someone's gonna steal my soul in my sleep. Don't go to
Alex.
sleep.
I mean, honestly, the bell
Uh,
thing actually reminded me of like a Krampus.
Mhm. I was
Okay.
I was going for Krampus
Okay.
too. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christmas horror.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
True.
And even like just because of the size of the creature, Leprechaun, I was also kind of making a nod, or Chucky even.
I mean,
Chucky even.
yeah, Chris dolls.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Annabelle.
Definitely some Annabelle feel.
Some
Yeah.
Annabelle in there, especially in the beginning, and then of course not Beyond the Souls, that video game that I was talking about before with the totems.
The Evil Within.
Until Dawn. Until Dawn.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Till Dawn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Until
man,
Dawn.
there was another one that.
Birds.
Birds. Yes, the birds. Yes, very much the birds. Yes.
Oh man, I couldn't think of that one.
Yep.
The paintings reminded me of something, but I can't recall what it was.
Mhm.
Like almost, like I don't want to say Dorian Gray, not that one, but there was another one about painting showing the future kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to remember the movie though.
Yeah. Cool. All right, everybody. Thank you again.